go, let's go. People, my people, what's really going on? Let's get to it. Mic check, mic check. Let's go. All right, people. All right. Okay, so I owe you 1,000 apologies. We ran into some of the cheapest technical difficulties known to man. A mere $6, right? Kept a multi-million-dollar show from going on, right? What's really going on? I haven't dapped myself up today, right? It's not just for when people are around. We need the good vibes around at all times, right? But listen, people, we got a hot show going on tonight, and I'm going to explain to you why. I have come to believe that what a person is doing at the age of 30 is likely what they'll be doing at the age of 60 and 80. It's not a belief of mine. That's just what the stats say. And if we look around at our friends, at our parents, at people in general, you'll know that those stats are probably legitimate. What we've known people to be doing, regardless if it's good or bad, typically that's who they are. And that's how we know people. People know a specific thing about lions because they tend to do this throughout the duration of their lives, right? And with that said, the women who we often speak of, who we believe are doing significant damage to our community, I don't really see the need to continue talking to people who you know won't change. It may come up from time to time, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to focus more on the family dynamic, the family aspect, and as what one young lady referred to on my show, how to unratchet. I have given up on black women, to be honest. That doesn't mean 100% of black women. That just means the ones who are causing the ruckus, they're causing so much ruckus that it's almost like not worth it to even skip to the loo and find the ones who have amazing, impeccable behavior, right? I read in a book, it said, a man on a journey, if he stops and throws a rock at every dog that barks on him, that man shall never reach his destination. Meaning, you don't have to address everything. I've seen people some horrible, hideous things that I didn't think existed in our community. Even responses, answers, just things, period, that make me think people may not know what the number one is. Just literally the number one. So I don't really think that there's a huge benefit in wasting time with people who you don't believe in anymore. And I, for one, don't believe, right? But listen, we have a hot show for you today. A lot of you are going to know where I'm coming from. Ladies, I'm talking to you. If it hasn't been made perfectly clear to your children that you stand beside the man of your house, you have disrespect going on in your home that can turn into something major. And this is an issue. It's a bigger issue than what people think it is. It's one of those things that is causing major problems in personal homes, right? Things like this you don't see until you see children turning into the relationships dissolving, right? For some years, actually, people not speaking to each other, just, relationships that should never go sour, going completely sour. Kind of in the form of relationships getting damaged, people not speaking to people who they're very close to, people cutting each other out of each other's lives permanently. I'm particularly talking about Women who are with the person that they have children by, right? You guys live together and the children in the house are both of yours, right? Or women who have children that aren't by the man that they're currently with, but that man has been a pillar in this household for some years. This is a serious relationship. And he provides for her children as if they are his, right? These are the people who I'm talking to. Ladies, when it has not been made perfectly clear to your children that you are in alliance with the man of that house and that you stand beside his decisions, there's trouble ahead. There's trouble ahead. Some of you already know what I'm talking about. Ladies, you need to understand those children are leaving you someday to start their own lives. And it's going to be in a selfish way. You may have one boy who you can't talk out of, you know, leaving no good women alone, women that everybody knows are no good. And he may very well choose these women over you in a very blatant way. May tell you to stay out of his business. Of course, after all you've done for him, right? And that very man that you let that same boy or that same girl run off would have been a very suitable mate to walk with to the end of life. But you let someone who later on left you run him off. Now you're by yourself. And it's not really fun for you. It's not really fun for you. Ladies, the kids should know you stand beside the man of that house. An alliance. If you have formed a visible alliance in your house with your kids against a man, that man's cheating on you, ladies. And might even be considering leaving closer than what you think or expect of him. See, here's the thing. Oh, and especially if one of the children is a boy. Ladies, you don't understand. To the man of the house, that comes with the exact same feeling as you cheating on him with another man. Because you actually are. You've literally chosen another man over him. Right? You may not want to look at it that way, but that's what you're doing. And ladies, if you're living like that, trust me, your relationship is in serious trouble. Your relationship is in trouble, has been for some time, and things have probably been taking place that had you knew about these things. Yeah. Yeah, your relationship is in trouble, silently. That man has lost a certain sense of what he used to feel and think about you. Trust and believe it. See, the thing is this. What I think you ladies don't understand is you don't belong to those children. Think about your original purpose. The Bible does not say, and after God created children, he saw that it was not good for children to be by themselves, so he created woman. No. Your existence, the purpose for you even being created was moi. It's for men. You belong to the man of that house. You belong to that person who will die for you and who's usually in the situation to where he's going to be the one who something happens to you, it's going to happen to him first. He's the one who's with you more than the children. He's the one who you're taking, who you both are going out on dates in vulnerable areas. He's going to be the one who's going to push you out of the way and bring harm upon himself. It's not the children. Hopefully now you're starting to see why it's so offensive. Just even the sound of that is very offensive. You belong to the man of that house. Those children don't walk downstairs when you hear something in the middle of the night. It's not the children. Those children have not committed to be with you even when your body gets out of shape and you're less likely to be able to attract the caliber of men that you would like. You don't have to worry about when you fall apart because there's a man who's committed himself to you. Even though it may be not what he would wish for if there was a such thing as Santa Claus. Like, he would probably wish his woman always had a decent body and decent looks. But that man has committed to staying with you through the good and the bad, right? Your children are not the ones who are going to make sure that this thing called life never gets too heavy on your shoulders and that you never have to carry the pressure of life solo on your shoulders. Your children are not the ones who have pledged to keep you company throughout life, be patient with you, and overlook the things that they don't like about you like he has. Those children are not the ones who are going to die for you when the time comes necessary. Do you know why they're not going to do all of those things for you, ladies? Because here very soon they're going to find somebody of their own to do all of those very things for and with. How about that? So, ladies, those of you who are pitting with the kids of the house against the man, you formed an alliance with your kids, you're in error. You're completely wrong. You're completely wrong. And to be honest, if it's something that you've been warned about before, I'd advise that man to leave you. A man who is willing to step in front of a knife for you has to come second in your life. Yeah, that sounds kind of strange, doesn't it? I know it does to me. It sounds pretty strange. The very one who has been chosen and selected to give his life up for you, he gets the scraps of you. That's kind of crazy. Not to mention that it's a perpetual practice of minimizing the respect that you owe him. It's a perpetual practice of disrespect. Even when nothing's going on, the fact that he knows if something were to, a disagreement were to happen in the house, the fact that he knows that you would choose the kids over him, it's a perpetual disrespect. But again, those very same kids that you were choosing over that multi-purpose man. Listen, I don't think you ladies understand. A man is a protector, an observer, a deterrent, a defender, a landscaper, a mechanic. He's not just one thing. He's a lover. He's that person that makes it so to where you don't have to, every time you get that itch, you don't have to open up your phone and flip through Desiree, Tony, Lucky, and start calling to see who's available. See, he kills all of that. Yet, he is a silent participant of perpetual disrespect. The longer he stays there, the more his own character and self-respect is diminished. That a person would even know that this is taking place and continue to stay in a situation like that. Those kids are going to leave you one day. You will have lost a very good man that you know to be a very good man over people who you knew were going to leave you. And here you are, stuck, looking stupid on Tinder at 53. Ain't that something? On Tinder at the age of 53. If we want to get realistic, on Tinder at the age of... Listen, I'm going to say this to you, ladies. If you're 40 years old and you're not married, it's bad. That thing is supposed to be locked in at 35. To be honest, people typically do it in their late 20s. And you have nerve enough to be demonstrating behaviors that would cause any man that you are lucky to have to think about leaving. Suicide. It's a suicide. because you formed an alliance with some children and caused a man to decide to let you go and deal with your relationship with your children. And him find someone who will put high value on him. Forced his hand, you did. And most of you ladies have let this happen. You know I'm not lying. See, what has happened is a diluting of the honor, integrity, and man of the honor and respect that men are supposed to have. Listen, I don't even care if it's a man who's not really performing at the capacity you would like him to be performing at. A broken man has the value to sustain a family. A broken man is viewed by another predator as a deterrent, as a threat. A broken man can push a lawnmower, can make your life easier. I don't suggest that you go out and find a broken man, but men deserve more respect, and that's why you're allowing the things to happen that you allow to happen even inside of your home. Most of you ladies have done this to yourself. We know it's the truth. Listen, I think it's safe to say that we can all agree that that man that you ran off in that relationship, he's in a relationship right now, and you're probably not. You've been checking up on him a little bit, inconspicuously. You ran off a good man who is doing okay now. You formed an alliance with some children, ran off a good man because he saw that you were capable of choosing someone else over him when he's pledged to do all of life's dirty work for you and to handle most of life's most important things with and for you. And what he got in trade for that was second place in your life. And now, because of all of that, you're realistically in danger of dying alone or dying with a booty call. I don't know what you would call it, because you didn't have the sense to know that you never form an alliance with children over the man of your house, who can also make your life's journey easier, because that's what men typically do. There's a type of security that even comes with knowing he's there. Knowing he's there. There's a type of security in that by itself. Knowing that there's another loyal heartbeat inside of that house that used to be quiet, be cold, lacking of any type of life. Now that man is in there. Ladies, I'm going to tell you this. Another thing to go with that, a woman who's even capable of doing something like that, creating an alliance with children against a man of the house, she has other issues that are keeping her single as well. Trust me. A woman who doesn't know any better than to form an alliance with children over a man is the type of woman you would find it very difficult to get along with. We know this is happening. What you ladies don't understand is a man's job is to keep children in line and mold them into people who will be able to survive on their own later on in life when it counts. And a lot of times the main tools that are used in teaching children this is giving them incremental doses of the harshness of life. No, there's not a Santa Claus. I bought you that stuff, right? See, kids who are taught about Santa Claus most of their life, they go out into the world believing such rhetoric. And oftentimes, it can be a very painful lesson learning that there's no Santa Claus or that there's no handouts in life. It can be very painful. It can be fatal. Oftentimes it is. A lot of the times, the main tool in preparing children for life is exposing them to incremental dosages of the harshness of life. Listen, you can't go outside for 2 weeks. Give me that phone for a month. Those grades better come up or the belt's coming out, right? And see, especially when you have a household with multiple children, when one is slacking and you get on that one, now that one has taken up beats with you, right? Secretly holding attitude or whatever. But then when that one starts behaving because of the discipline you put on them, now it's time for you to get on the other one. Yeah, now another one is acting up. And then when that starts dissipating and that kid starts behaving better, what you tend to see is now you may be going back and forth with the mom about why she doesn't rock with you in front of the kids and let them know that her place that her place is in solidity with you. Once that one starts to get it together, those children see you and the mom into it. I mean, you and the dad into it because he's trying to teach you how to have his back when it comes to the kids. But what it looks like to everybody else in the entire house is he stays into it with everybody in the house. And once people start looking at you like the villain, you become the villain, right? Relationships get ruined, sometimes for life. Sometimes for life. Imagine if a cell phone was taken for bad grades and the mom stood beside the dad and let it be known that she agreed with his decision, right? The dad wouldn't be able to be painted as the villain because then the mother that they love has also agreed with him. And if they paint the man of that house the villain for that decision that the mom supported, then they have to paint that woman that they love as the villain too. And they're not going to do that. To take up refuge against the dad would mean that they also have to take it up against the woman who they don't want to see upset. Ladies, if you don't think you have a man who is capable of making sound decisions that can propel that house into a better future, then why are you with him? Why are you with him? Do you know what type of mental damage it is to get tag teamed up on? Especially when you know that the information that you're dispensing in that house is sound information that has been used successfully and effective as a effective method throughout history in multiple different scenarios. This stuff has been put in journals and things, right? Listen, ladies, you shouldn't just side with just any bozo, right? Any man who doesn't look like he's going to be in your life for the duration, no, I wouldn't advise you to take up arms with him over your children, okay? But then again, why are you even entertaining such a person who you don't think possibilities of long-term future exist with? Yeah, that's a whole different route. But whoever it is, the father of the child, or the person you've been in a very serious relationship with for some years, if you intend to be in a serious relationship and you intend for it to go anywhere closely related to long term success, ladies, when it comes to those kids, you always stand by the man and support his decisions. And for those occasions where you think maybe, your guy might have had a bad day and perhaps he was wrong in that particular instance, speak to him about it in private away from the kids. Right? And guess what happens when you do it like that? He won't have to make many decisions that they don't like because they'll stop trying to manipulate and get over. Soon as they see the alliance that you have with that man, they'll stop manipulating. They'll stop even attempting because it only takes 3 or 4 instances and demonstrations of your loyalty to that man for them to find out that mom is not a safe place to go talk behind this man's back. Mom is not a safe place to go plot with against one of the decisions he has just made. See, what you ladies don't understand You just don't seem to understand that what's been taking place is those kids have learned how to manipulate you. Of course, you don't want to admit it. They've learned how to manipulate you as the comrade to their agendas, to supersede instructions and unpleasantries laid out by the general of that house. You know how they say you give a person an inch, they'll take a mile? A person will test you just like a woman will. Kids will test you. Little scratch at the wall. Now a little deeper scratch at the wall. Keep scratching to see when she says something, right? And that only takes a couple of affirmations of solidarity with them for them to find out, no, mom rocks with us. We can even talk behind his back to her, right? Yeah, you have to make sure that children know what's what. You have to make sure that children pretty much know that she's not a safe place, that you're not a safe place to come and disrespect that man. You're not a safe place to come and plot against that man. I don't mean crazy plot. I mean manipulation. Get her to supersede orders that he's thrown out. Listen, not only should you support his decisions, but even if you have to do a little research, find information online that support the decision that he made, that support that the decision was right, and convey it to them, right? You don't want to. You shouldn't be in a situation to where you're just agreeing with wrong. You shouldn't even be dealing with a man who typically is wrong with the decision, and you're just defending wrong decisions. I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you that more than likely, because men are good at this. Even studies show that children are better staying with the men than they are with the woman. When they stay with the man, the likelihood, the percentage of teen pregnancies drop drastically, right? When they stay with the man, academically, the grades, they're significantly higher, right? Because men are instinctive, men are observant, and we know how to be tough when it's time to be tough. But I'm going to say it. I'm going to tell you ladies this one time. If you have teamed up with your kids over the man of that house, you don't know it, but there's an avalanche coming in that relationship. Hopefully, you don't even think or assume that that man is just looking at it like, oh, she's just being an overprotective mom. Hopefully, you're not even letting that even come across your mind, right? Because what's going on is he's not viewing that as a family attack. The Bible says a house divided cannot stand. What he's viewing it as, it doesn't even matter who it is. You're siding with someone else over him. That's what's taking place. You're siding with someone else over him. To be honest, that's all that matters. Who it is doesn't really matter. When that man finds out he's number two in your life, that's when the bull crap starts happening. And you know what I mean when I say bull crap. You know what I mean. You see, baby boy, when Jody and Taraji were in the drive-thru, and she went in that back seat to look for her purse or whatever, those times are ahead of you. Those times are ahead of you. If you've been making that man feel like he's number two or three in your life, things are taking place right now that if you knew about it, you'd be ready to throw up whatever it is you just put in your mouth. Whatever drink you drink, and you'd be ready to throw it up. Men demand loyalty. Men are characters of war. The art of war and the things that take place in war, those are things that are in men's biology, like loyalty. Why do you think treason exists? Do you know that in the United States, you get found guilty of treason, you could be sentenced to death? Like, seriously, that's how bad treason is. No one wants to be, yeah. I'm just going to say it. I don't care how old they are. If your man tells you that the kid who always needs help and is always kind of screwing up, he or she will not be receiving any more financial help, that's just that. That's just that. And don't you be trying to sneak and send him money behind the man of that house's back. That man made a decision for a reason that women aren't usually aware of, nor do they understand the science of it. And that's where me and you typically get into it. You don't understand the science of the decisions that I'm making. But listen, men know that there's a monster inside of them. Men know that there's a monster inside of every man, like the Incredible Hulk. When life's toughest times come up against men, there's an inner beast, there's an inner demon that will release if it's allowed to. If it's allowed to, it will come out and address the roadblock that was in that kid's way. We have a thing in us. But if every time life tests your son or your daughter, and right when your child is about to summon that inner demon inside of him, we're going to stick with the him because this is something men typically have. If every time life tests your son, and right when your son is about to summon that inner demon inside of him and chest to chest confront the issue of life that he occasionally faces, you reach out and you quench the confrontation with your money or with your support, your kid will never get to meet that demon inside of him that takes people to great places and has people's name written in history. Kids should get to know that demon because it's going to be the life or death difference in certain decisions when they start their own families. Here's the thing, though. I just explained that to you. We shouldn't have to explain this to you. You do what women do, and you let men do what men do. If you trust me enough to open your body and let me dump my entire genetic makeup inside of you, then surely the God you trust me enough to make important decisions. Seeing how that's probably one of the most important decisions a woman can make. Who she's going to put her life at risk with. STDs and babies into this world, right? If you trust me enough to let me do these things every night to you, you should be able to trust me to run that house. And if you don't, you're in error. You're in definite error. You trust me to jeopardize your life, not knowing what I may be doing out in the streets, then bringing my body back home to you, jeopardizing your safety, right? But you don't trust me to make decisions of that. It's backwards. It's backwards. Ladies, kids should know that you stand beside the man of that house. You should let it be known at your earliest convenience. What do they call it? ASAP. There should be no camaraderie with you and the children. Here's the thing. I'm talking about the man who you had those children with, who's your husband, or who you've been with, who it looks like you're going to be with, or the man who you've selected as a long-term life partner, a very serious situation. To be honest, you ladies, if it's not something serious, you shouldn't be bringing them around your children anyway. Did you know that? Yeah, so those are the scenarios where we're definitely not talking about. Well, we're talking about the man that you determine is a serious relationship and going to be your life partner. You should lay your thing down very firm. Let the kids know that what he says is what you would probably say. And again, like I said, when you see that that man may be in error, those are one of the times to where maybe you tap him on the shoulder, babe, can I speak to you, right? And if he's a good man, after you talk to him, if it shows that he was in error at the moment, if he's a good man, he'll even let the kids know he was in error at that moment. Do you know why? Because we're typically not in error. Because we're protectors. Most of the instructions that men are laying down in the house is for some type of life benefit. Me and the mother of my children, we had a saying that, we were going to raise our children under the premise that me and her die in a plane accident. That's literally what it was. Because kids need to be prepared to confront life in the event that you are not here. Have you ever seen what happens? Listen, have you ever seen what happens when people run into significant amounts of money that they did not do the legwork for? A fool and his money shall soon depart. This is in the Bible. Experience is what helps us make the right decisions that will be the biggest benefits in our life. See, life is a journey, right? Life is a journey. And when you hear that people kind of have unstable, kind of messed up lives, well, that came from decisions. It's not saying that this is a bad person. It means one decision can set your life back 10 years. One decision. One decision can. But what do they say? So you don't have to step into the potholes I stepped into. To be able to get information from someone who has experienced life will save you from stepping in a lot of the bad potholes that break ankles. Men are so multi-purpose. We are so multi-purpose. But unfortunately, we live in an era today where the women are trying to compete with the men, and therefore, trying to compete with men, there's a lot of misinformation being pushed out, a lot of rhetoric being pushed out, even to the point when there is open demonstrations of lack of disrespect towards men nationwide. Well, the kids that are growing up and seeing this, they're growing up into a world that's teaching them that men aren't deserving of much respect. Not knowing that men are supermen, like we come to save the day, when the most vile things tend to happen, right? Ladies, humble yourselves and understand that you may run off your life partner just by trying to form an alliance with children who will be gone in 18 years. And a lot of your children only have 3 to 5 more years left. And you'll look back at those things and you'll occasionally bump into that good man. You'll occasionally bump into that same good man in the supermarket with his amazing woman. And if you look at her, it looks like she just drinks up all of his goodness. She's just appreciative to have been given the chance to bump into him as a single man. And that was your fumble. I'm telling you this. If any of you have these circumstances going on in your house right now, you have an avalanche coming. Men aren't the type to keep saying things about things. It will be a situation where this has been festering. And then when the time comes for that girl who, I don't know, she's a little bit out of my league. I don't know why she's hollering at me. The things that you allow to take place in that house will be the very justification in him going ahead and crossing that line. I didn't say they would be legitimate justifications, but they will become justifications. In my world, they're probably legitimate justifications. You don't want to hear the rest of this. Like, what I think about men and women, yeah, we'll leave that alone. But you ladies don't understand the level of respect. See, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I grew up watching my grandmother and my grandfather's dynamics play out. I grew up watching this. So I understood that my grandmother could be fiery sometimes, but when it came to him, she knew her place. Somebody else could get the business. And when he went too far overboard, she would give him the business. But even this woman who I knew could turn up if she when she wanted to, when it came to him, it's like she just knew. Don't treat him like I treat everyone else. And they had that house for 70 years. Most other people that I know. Even in homes where there's infidelity, when a woman knows her place, she won't let that house fall over something she knows all men probably do. I wish I could show you this. There's a woman. There's a woman that came on my show. She said it. Another woman called her foolish, but the woman said, listen, if my man, this woman was about 60, no, she was 55, I think. She said, There was a younger girl on the show with me combating this older woman. The older woman said, "You sound bitter." She said, "You one of those types, if your man cheat on you or something, you'll lose your mind, throw it all away." She said, "If my man do cheat, he ain't going nowhere." She said, "I ain't going nowhere." She said, "What I'm gonna do that for? Long he better not tear this house up. He better not jeopardize this." That's what this older woman said. And you know she's serious because all of the women her age, we know that these people were in houses with a man for like 40 and 50 years. Their way had to work. Most of you are renting right now. And if you're not, you can't see, even just based on your finances, it's not 100% you're really going to have that house without it getting taken because this has been a two-income society for the last 25 years. You people just keep saying it's not. You people just keep saying I don't need a man. It's only you. It's only you. There's something about you, the life of the party, that you just don't even know how much cooler life is when you don't have the world's stresses on your shoulders. When there's a man who pays half of the bills in that house. And that's why I don't discuss, the things that I don't understand about black women anymore. There's nothing that you can do to change them. They're going to behave like this. We just got to do better. And I'm not talking about those women. I don't care what those women do. I'm talking about women who are doing who are moving in error, but they're not doing it intentionally. They just need to learn better. They need to come across certain informations. Those are the women I'm talking to these days. The black ratchets, or the OBWs, which I call them, older, bitter women. I have not many words for them. Listen, people, let me explain this to you again. Statistically, what a person is doing at the age of 30 is likely what they'll be doing at 60 and 80. It takes 10,000 hours to master an art or craft. 10,000 hours is roughly a year and 2 months. Could you imagine a person who has been living a certain life of ratchetry, disrespect, unruly behavior for over 200,000 hours, which is roughly 20 years? If it takes 10,000 hours to master an art, if it takes a year and 2 months to master an art, how deeply do you believe dysfunction is settled into a person who's been acting away for 200,000 hours? So, yes, the thing is, we must move on to greener pastures. We must move on to more realistic successes, right? People who aren't completely broken. Focus on what I want to see a lot of. I want a lot of you women to start attaching me to videos of successful marriages in between black men and black women. I want these things, and I want to repost them. We're going to start pushing out a completely different image. We're going to start making sure people see things that the world isn't focused on. My entire channel is going to be devoted to this. And don't get it twisted. I will still decimate, obliterate, and nail one of you ratchets to the cross on my show. All in the name of doing better than we did yesterday, of course, right? I don't know. I think we got the hottest show on the line. I just think people don't know about it yet, but they're about to. You guys are about to see some dramatic changes that are going to make you love the show. Listen, people, I'm about to get up out of here, but you know what we do. Hold on. You guys know my saying. There's winners on this channel and people who have the potential to be winners, right? Some of you who have careers and you've been stuck in that same position for too long, I want to hear about those of you who walked up on your supervisor this week and let him know, hey, Stanley, I know you've been seeing me kill it because, I've been seeing you see me kill it for the last 5 years. And I want to talk to you about, promotion. That's what we do. Closed mouths don't get fed. I want you people, listen, concerning the wage gap, it's a myth. It's a fairy tale that women say men get paid more than women do just for being men. It's a lie. Actually, the thing that is men take on jobs that pay more. Even in STEM, only 27% of women are in the STEM: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, right? So that's why men get more. But another study showed that women were less likely, less inclined to approach supervisors and things like that and ask for what they thought were happening. Whereas men, we don't play. Give me mines, right? But listen, people, we got nothing but hot shows lined up for you this week, and you will see. I do mean hot shows, back to back to back to back. So listen, stay tuned, keep supporting, and we're out of here. Yo!